I'm Claire from createdtheottaway. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up in the UK. Thank you for joining me and sharing some of your craft time with me. This is this week's crafty make. Look, isn't it beautiful? It's a gift box. What have I called it? A simple explosion gift box. So it's a bit like, can you see that's like a belly band? It's a bit like a ring box, as in that opens and then you've got that lovely box inside for you to fill with delicious treats or just about anything actually. It's quite big. If I use the Tombow glue to sort of show you the size, couldn't quite get the Tombow glue in there, but it's a really big size box and you can upscale it or downscale it for whatever you need. I have seen some before, I've made one before where the middle pops up as well, but I just wanted to keep it really simple for this week's make, so this is what we are making today. I've also made it in one piece of card, and that's okay, but it's a little bit fiddly of explaining where to cut and where to score, and so I've simplified it and I've done it in two pieces of card. What's really pleasing about that is that you can use a different colour on the middle, so it really has got a bit of a wow when you open it because it's a contrast. On this one I've put a belly band around, which basically just means that I've wrapped a piece of card around and then I've decorated it. I think in the next one I'll just show you the decoration and how to get that to stay in place rather than the belly band, but we'll see. Sometimes I get distracted and carried away and just want to show you everything. I try and keep the videos to about half an hour long because we're all really busy, and crafting's not meant to be stressful, it's meant to be fun. So that just slots back over there. Shall I quickly run through what you might need? You just need two pieces of card. I've used white card that I've then layered with some designer paper just to make it pop, and some coloured card for the inside, and then I've used a couple of different elements from Stampin' Up for the top, so I will share with you those. I've used everyday detail dies, which are like this, which actually look nothing. My other ones are just here where I've die cut them, so you can see, but when you actually die cut them you get this lovely hole effect going around. Now if you're like me and you love to do all sorts of crafts, when I first saw that I thought you can add some stitching to that, so it would be really easy to thread a needle and just stitch it through. And actually the twine that Stampin' Up sell, they've got a pack of 5 different natural colours, like a black, a white, a brown, I think, which is crumb cake. Yeah, there's a set of 5. I'll look it up and put it in the descriptions. That really is the perfect size just to thread through, just like that, just in and out. So if you've got kids, it's a fun job for them to do. Get in with the crafting. That obviously is the circle one. The one that is the next layer is like a double frame. So you get that piece that pops out, and then what's left on your card is this. So if you cut a card front to the size and then die cut it out, you would be left with this lovely frame to use. So you can see how you can layer that up on a card. Let me show you the effect. So if that was your card and then that was on the top and then you put that in the middle, that's another way to get some extra ideas out of your crafting. So those dies, absolutely love them. Love the fact that they're circle ones, but there's also this one here, the long bits, and if you die cut those on a card you could actually do crosses, so a bit of cross stitch on your card making. There's also this that comes with it, so you've got some rectangle shapes as well, and then this lovely pattern here that will go really well on your cards. So they are called Everyday Details dies. They're online, you have to buy them online, and you can shop with me at createdtheottaway.co.uk. So what else did I use? There's a new catalogue out, so I tried to use some new stuff from that. I've used these beautiful papers here, the frames and flowers. So they come in a pack that you get some designer series paper and then some pre-made die cut pieces like that. All sorts of bits and pieces like that. So I've used those as well, just to decorate the top. And the stamp set that I used is Unbounded Love. I love this set. I love the two fonts. Just love everything about it, but I really like the dies as well. Did I mention that? If you've watched any of my videos before, thank you. Thank you that they came back again. If you're a new subscriber, it's lovely to see you here. You're very welcome. If you have any questions for me, just pop them in the comments or send me an email at createdtheottaway@gmail.com. So, shall we craft? Right, let's make this beautiful box. So first of all, the instructions. You're going to need 2 pieces of card. The base card is this side and the inside card is this size. Now I have done it in centimetres and inches, so use what you want. I did just look at it just now and think, actually I've done this slightly wrong on the centimetres. It should just be 18 centimetres by 18 rather than 18.1. It won't make a lot of difference, but just so you know, 18 centimetres by 18, and then just score it at 6 and 12 on both sides. But I'll try and remember and explain that as we go. So 2 pieces of card, that's all you need. I've gone for white again because I want it to stand out on the camera, and white seems to be the best one to stand out. And then I've gone for this lovely petal pink. I just love it. It's really hard to describe. It is pink, but it's not. It's sort of like a salmony pink. It's not a baby pink, it's more a wedding pink. If that makes any sense to you, thank goodness. So should we start? We need the white piece, so your outer piece is the first piece that you're going to need. I've got Stampin'Up paper trimmer just because I can cut and score at the same time. If you haven't got one of these, then you need one. It just makes life so much easier. Okay, the first thing I need to do is cut my piece of card 5 inches by 10. So 5 inches I think I've already done, and now I just need to do the 10. Okay, so 10 inches is there, and I just cut that piece off. Okay, so that doesn't look anything, does it? But that's going to be the outside of our box. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is the score lines. So on the longer side, so this bit along the top, you are going to need to score at 1 1/4. So just make sure that my cutting blade is out the way, because I don't want any mistakes and just cutting instead of scoring. So 1 1/4, 3 3/4, 6 1/4, and then 8 3/4. Okay, 8 3/4. Then I'm going to turn it round. I'm going to do 2 score lines on here. 1 1/4. And then 3 3/4. Okay. So what you should end up with is 3 squares in the middle that you can see, and then rectangles all around the outside, which makes no sense at all, but it will become clear. So I am just going to burnish all those. I'm not going to do it with my bone folder. I'm just going to fold them over so you can see where they are a bit more for the sake of the filming. Okay, so just like that, and then hopefully that makes them stand out a bit more for you. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do it on with pencil so you can see. I'm going to cut from there to there and from there to there on both ends. And I'm actually going to use my paper trimmer to do that because I already know that it's 1 1/4, and rather than trying to cut a straight line, I'm just going to use the paper trimmer to just score up to that first line there. Okay, so just like that, and it's done. And then I keep it in the same place, but I go from the bottom up. Okay, so that one's done. So that gives me 2 tabs there. I'm going to spin it round and do it on the other way, the other end. So the 1 1/4 mark, and I'm just going to cut in on those 2 side pieces. Okay, so now I've got those bits that fold down there. They've made little tabs on there. Okay, either end. Now what I need to do is I need to cut out this middle rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to cut down to the first score line. Now this was 3 3/4, wasn't it? So I just line that up, 3 3/4, and I'm cutting. I'll do the other one with scissors just for those that would prefer to use scissors. So I've cut that down. Let me get my big pair of scissors. So the other side, I'm going to do exactly the same, but I'll do it with the scissors rather than the scorer. Okay, so that goes there, and that goes there. So effectively I've made tabs of everything, okay, but not these bits. They're all tabs along here. So I now need to cut out, ooh, where's my pencil gone? To do that, you put something down right in front of you and it disappears. So we're going to cut this bit off, okay? And we're going to cut this bit off here. Now, you can either do that on your paper trimmer or you can do it with scissors. So I know it's 1 1/4, and I know that I need that bit cut off. I don't know if you can see actually. So I'm lining up my paper trimmer at 1 1/4, and I know I need to cut this bit off. Let's see if that's done. Nearly. So just with the help of my scissors, there you go. So I've got that piece off, and then I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to spin it round and do the other side because it's easier to do it from this side. Like that. And there's the other side. Okay, let's move this paper trimmer out of the way. And there we have our shape, and all we've cut off is those 2 pieces. Okay, so now we just need to shape this tab here. So I'm not shaping the outside, but I am shaping the inside, and all I'm doing is cutting a triangle, or a tiny triangle. It's like minimal, like that, okay? Just so that when I put my box together in a minute, it will give me a nice square box. So I'm just doing this side as well. That's that one. And then I'm doing the other end as well. Okay, so that's out the way. So now what I would be doing is putting those in and making that. Putting those 2 sides in and making that, okay? And that is our box. But before I stick it together, I'm going to put some designer series paper on because it's easier to do it flat. Now I'm using petal pink for my inside, so I'm going to decorate the outside with some patterned petal pink paper, which if you use Stampin' Up products, you can have a look at the paper packs and you'll see which papers are the same, which coordinate and which match. I did think about doing the blue with the petal pink just to make it really stand out even more, but I think I'm going to go with that side. I might change my mind again. Okay, so my square, this square here, this is how I work out the size. So my square is 2.5. So I know my square is 2.5 by 2.5. So I want to cut a square slightly smaller. So I go to 2.5 and I go back 1 inch. So it's 2 3/8. So 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. And I need 2 of those. Okay, 2 of those. And then I've got 6 panels to do as well. Now I know that it's 2.5. So 2.5 will be 2 3/8. Oh, that's already right, isn't it? But how much is the width of my little panel? So one of these little side panels, they are 1 1/4. So I need to go slightly less than 1 1/4. So I'm doing 1 1/8. Okay. So if I bring that back to show you what I mean. So one of these panels is 1 1/8 by 2 3/8. And then the square is 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. And I need 1 on there, 1 on there, 1 on there. Nothing on the bottom. I don't bother decorating the bottom. But I need another 5 panels that I need from this piece. So this was just a 6 by 6 piece of paper. So it's 2 3/8. I'm just going to cut a big panel off. And then they're 1 1/8. Okay. So I needed 1, 2, 3. How many? 1, 2, 3, and I need another 2. So 1 1/8 by 2 3/8. 1 1/8. And then we should be there. I debated whether to pre-cut this all for you, but sometimes it's quite nice to see the whole make, not just the end finish. So let's do that together, and we can get to chat about the weather. That's a typical British thing to do, isn't it? Talk about the weather. Okay, so I'm using Tombow glue. Why do I use Tombow glue? Because it gives me a bit of wiggle room, which means I put it on, have a look, is it where I want it to be, and then I can sort of slide it. It's got a little bit of slide left in it before it all sticks down fast. And then panel is going on there, just like that. The more I look at the blue side, the more I'm thinking I should have done the blue side. It would have really popped. But never mind. Okay, you want 1 on the side as well, or 1 either side. The only bit you don't do is the tabs that you're going to glue in. That's there. And then just this end to do. And then our outside box we can put together. Okay, nearly there. 3 more. 1. This paper is from, oh, what paper is this? It's like a really understated pack that you don't really notice in the new catalogue. I'll have a look it up and I'll put that in the descriptions as well, because my menopausal brain has just gone blank as soon as I said, oh, and the paper is called, it's called Beautiful Paper. Beautiful Designer Paper, that's what it's called. Right, okay. So that's how your box looks. Now we need to put it together. So flip it over. I'm going to put glue on both tabs at the same time. Okay, just make sure all your folds are now confirmed and they're really nice and sharp. You can do that with your bone folder if you have one. Mine's in the other room. Okay, so that comes round there. And just be aware, because you've cut that tiny triangle off, don't push your side straight down, just look at the angle here, and you want a nice crisp corner. Because that little triangle, that tiny little bit there that you cut off, that gives you the ability to make a really nice sharp corner like that. Okay? Da, da, da. So now do this side. If you don't cut that tiny sliver off, what tends to happen is when you meet up your two sides, one overhangs slightly and you end up cutting or trying to cut off a tiny sliver anyway. So you might as well do it before. So can you see how I'm just sliding that to make sure it's got a nice crisp corner? And the same on this side. And that looks like it's outside done. Let's have a look. So that now just comes up like that. And that is the outside of our box. Now, if you've got your measurements slightly out or you've cut the paper slightly not straight, shall we say, don't worry. That's when you put a belly wrap band around the whole thing and it will hide. It will hide the fact that it's not quite meeting up, or it's entirely up to you. And remember, this is handmade. It's not off of a production line. You're doing each one uniquely, so be proud of what you've made. This is the outside. Ta-da! Now let's do the inside. So we just need a square for this. Now you could use a lot less card, but I want a nice strong box. So my box is going to be 7 1/8 by 7 1/8. Remember, if you're doing this in centimetres, it's 18 centimetres by 18 centimetres. So 7 1/8 for me. And then I'll turn it sideways, 7 1/8. And that should give me an equal piece of card or a square. Okay, now I've cut that into 6 squares, not cut it, score it. So I am going to score at 2 3/8. 2 3/8. Get that cutting blade out the way. 2 3/8 and 4 3/4. Okay, so it cuts it into 3 panels, or scores it into 3 panels. Now turn it sideways and do exactly the same again. 2 3/8 and then 4 3/4. Okay. Ta-da! Okay. So now what you're going to do is cut up one of the lines. Again, you could do this with your paper trimmer. I'm just going to fold them so you can see, because I don't think they're showing up very well with this card. So I've ended up with a square that's got 9 squares within it. Okay, so I am just cutting up one side. And then I turn it round and cut up that side. And this just gives me a really strong box, because I've got one extra piece of card on each side. I'll explain that in a minute, because that sounds a bit, what is she on about now? I can't even see myself on this petal pink. It's really tricky. So you end up with like that shape. Okay, you've got like a tab on each corner. So what happens is, bring that up, and then that one comes up and goes round, and then this one comes up and goes round, and then this one comes up and goes round. So effectively you're giving yourself 2 pieces of card on each side of your square, which makes it really, really strong. Now again, what I do tend to do is on the bit that's a tab, I do cut a little sliver just a little sliver off, because I can get a nice straight edge then as well on this box, because this is going to be noticeable when it opens. This is going to be the bit they focus on. So after the loveliness of the outside, all your effort on the decoration, you're then left with the box inside. So you really do want them to be straight. So I'm just cutting a little sliver off. That wasn't a very good sliver. Did you see that? Don't like how that sort of went in the middle. Okay, did I do this one? I don't think I did. 1, 2, 3, no. That means my cutting was not straight, because it looked like it had got a bit cut off. The joys of video. Okay, so now we're left with that. Let's turn that into a box. Now I don't need to decorate this at all. So I'm just going to make sure my tabs are all lovely and strong. And the glue. So this is going to be the bit that's stuck. So let's do that one first. So because I've cut that bit off, I can make sure I've got a nice right angle there, but also that I've got a nice top there. It lines up. Okay, and I'm just going to wait for that to set a little bit more than I would normally before I move on to the next one. I'm going to do this one. You don't have to rush this. I'm rushing for the video, so you don't have to sit and listen to me too long, but you really don't have to rush it. This is meant to be a bit of you time, away from routine. Okay, so I've made sure that that's straight. I've made sure that that angle is straight as well. Now the last bit, what you're going to do is put glue on both sides, because you need to tuck them both in, but only concentrate on getting one of them lined up at a time. Okay, so I'm putting glue on both of the tabs just so that I can tuck them in, because that one's going to go in there and this one is going to go in there. So I'm just going to concentrate on this side. Don't worry that you've already got glue on that. Oh, I've got cat's hair. They're very quiet today. The weather is not the greatest here, and they are really quiet. So that's going to go there. And then this last one is going there. And I can concentrate on that now. Make sure that's got a nice right angle. And that's your little cube. Okay. Ta-da! Okay, so bring your box over. You are going to put glue on the bottom. Okay, and what you are aiming for is to put it in this middle square here. Now it's slightly smaller, so you should be able to fit it in the middle really nice there. And when I say slightly smaller, it is like a fraction smaller. But before you really push it down too hard, just look on all sides. That's why I use Tumbo glue, so I can just wiggle it a bit. That looks about right. Ta-da! Look at that. Job done. Okay, so there is my simple explosion box, and now I just get to decorate the top. So with the top bit, I have got one of these pieces. I've got this piece that I need to go round and do the threading. Now I could get quite carried away doing this, so what I'm going to do is pretend that that's done and show you how I put it together. So this bit, if I don't do the belly band, what I need to do is put, oh, I've got glue on my finger, put some dimensionals, or however I'm going to stick it. I want it only on one side, because if I put it on both, then that means that they have to rip it to open it up. So what I want to do is just put sticky double-sided tape or dimensionals on the back of one piece, so that the weight of it holds it close, but you can still separate it like that. Okay, then and I usually do put that on dimensionals so that it hires it up, just clear of the box. So that's wants to live inside. So that's going to go on there. Okay, this bit is going to go on here. Again, I hire that up with dimensionals. So if I bring this one in, you can see, and I've done my stitching and tied a bow. I was going to put it at the bottom, but I need it at the top so I can put my flowers and things. So don't stick everything together until you're sure where you want things to be. So that is going to go like that. And then in that pack, with all of these bits and pieces, all of these lovely bits. So even though that, oh, might have to move this out of the way, even though that is way too big for the box, it just hangs off, although you could probably get away with that. What I would do is cut it. So just because it comes like that doesn't mean it has to stay like that. So I would just follow the line of the flowers, like so. Leave a bit of white space around it. So I just cut it off like that. Okay, so you end up with a leaf and a flower. Now, if I want that to be on top, I just may need to make it look like it's meant to be like that. So don't leave any sharp edges that look a bit strange. Just sort of shape it round. Honestly, the person receiving this is going to be blown away by your gift. They're not going to be looking to see if you trimmed it properly. So that's going on there. That's going on there. Then my leaf, where do I want it? Do I want the flowers on the top, like that? Do I want this tucked underneath so you don't even notice it? Can you see already it changes the look of it? The other thing that I do as well is, so if I've got a leaf like this, is that a good one to show you? I'm not sure, let's see. Let's see if there's one of the other ones. So this one. So if I was putting this on the top of here, okay, where's that other bit? And what do? Do I tuck it underneath and not see half of the leaves, or do I put it on top? So I have a little bit of a look and I think, well, some of the leaves I want underneath, but some of them I want on top. So I just cut into this, just round like that. Just follow the leaf round, and then I see what it looks like if I tuck it in, if I tuck it on top, like that, so that you can stick half of it behind, but half of it in front. That one needs to come on top a bit more, so I would do that. Let's have a look what that looks like now. So if I tuck that in there and tuck it in there, can you see how it changes it already? And then if I put it on there, and then if I add some flowers, it looks different already. One of these flowers. You can do all sorts, all sorts. Have a little bit of a play and see what you come up with. But that is today's make. So I will finish this box and I will share it with you. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook, or you can sign up to my newsletter at createdtheottaway.co.uk. I write a weekly newsletter with all sorts of offers, events, craft events, and just a little bit from me. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And any questions, just get in touch. Bye.